Everyone, Beachy Racing here, of course, with Vernon Beachy to discuss 8 two-year-olds that you've selected for us to talk about. Now, before we get into all that, let's talk about kind of your season so far here in 2026. We caught up with you in March to talk about those 3-year-olds and some of the aged horses you had. Charlie's Money being an Ohio Sire Stakes winner, Rose Run Brook being an Ohio Sire Stakes winner, Gwendolyn Hanover with a PA Sire Stakes win, and then to top it all off, let's talk about Victoriana's Secret, who finished second there in that Oak Grove Trotting Oaks final. Going into the final, you wanted to make some equipment changes. Kind of run us through what those changes were going to be, and then ultimately ended up deciding to do instead.
Yeah, she was running out really bad in the elimination, and so we're trying to correct some of that. And then I made some more equipment changes, and then when I watched her warm up, she really was worse. So we went back to the original drawing board, and then luckily we have a month between starts here, so I feel like I've made a lot of progress in that month.
And speaking of that, we got to watch her train today. She looked, I would say, a lot calmer today than in previous. Now?
Yeah, very. So far I've managed to calm her down a lot. I feel like I put a head pull on the outside of her and just kept changing bits until I tried to find something that she likes. And I feel like I between two combinations that she kind of is accepting. So that's a positive.
So from this point, where do we plan on seeing Victoriana's Secret next?
We might qualify this coming Tuesday, or potentially race an overnight race Thursday. See how the draw shakes out, and then after that, I think we're going to Current Ivies, and then the Moneymaker is kind of what we're pointing towards.
Let's move on here to our 2-year-olds. We're going to start off with Debt Free. This is a colt trotter ready for money. This was a $23,000 Buckeye yearling sale purchase. The ready for monies, I'm telling you what, they seem like they're very tough to train. How has this one been so far?
I've got 2 colts. The colts are awesome. They're easy to deal with. I've liked this colt from right along. He's always a happy little colt. He's not the biggest thing, but he's always happy, always in a good mood, and always willing to do his job. So just happy with him so far. We actually did some work on them. We took a few of them to Woodland Run and had some pallet trims done on them. And so he had an easy week this week, and then they'll qualify the following week. So I think that's like 9th or 16th, I think, maybe, something like that. I'm not sure.
So where are you looking to qualify them at? The Meadows?
Yeah, they're all going to the Meadows, yep.
So we're going to move on here to Made for More. This is a 2-year-old filly trotter. This is a homebred, a long tom half sibling to the small but mighty Chip Shot. Have you noticed any similarities between the two?
This one's a little bigger, more relaxed, but there's some similarities. But yeah, I really like this filly. She's a very gritty little filly. I mean, I shouldn't say little. She's average size, I would say. But yeah, I like her.
So between Debt Free and Made for More, do you plan on qualifying them? But what are kind of their staking obligations, kind of as you go on into the 2026 season?
After we qualify twice, I make that adjustment from there. I don't try to set a schedule before they qualify. I have an idea which ones I think are better, but then you go to qualify and someone else might have one a lot better. Some of them surprise you and some of them disappoint you.
Moving on here, we're going to go to On a Clear Day, aka Daisy. This is also another ready for money. This was a $20,000 Lexington Select purchase. Kind of talk about her progression between for when you first got her all the way up until now.
She's been really good all winter. She has the ready for money filly spurts, but she's been actually pretty easy to deal with compared to some of the other ready for monies I've had in the past. I really like this filly. I liked her at the sale. I liked her family, and she's been good all winter. Yeah, obviously, I like to start with the page. Certain crosses that I like. I like to see 2-year-old speed in the pedigree, and I like to see dams that have produced babies that are at least racing. I like Chapter 7. I like Chapter 7s in general, but I think Chapter 7 dams really bring a lot of grit out in the baby.
Gonna move on here to Rose Run Charm. This is also a 2-year-old filly trotter. This is a long tom. This was a $72,000 Ohio Select purchase. But it's interesting when you talk about those pedigrees, because you go back, you look at the 3rd dam, you see that this one produced tall cotton. This was a Burke trainee, earned over $871,000.
Yeah, this is kind of funny, actually. I had just went to Rose Run Farms to look at babies, and Doug Paul called me and says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just got left Rose Run." He goes, "Well, there's one horse in the sale I like." I said, "Oh, really? Is it number 8? He goes, "Yep, that's the only one I like." I said, "It's my favorite horse at that Rose Run." So him and Richard Gutnick and Tommy Capone, they ended up going in together and they bought her, and she's been really good all winter, really.
So we got to watch her train today. Initially, when we first started, she did make a little bit of a miscue. You came back, you made an equipment change. Kind of take us through what happened there.
She wants to get really aggressive, and she has done that all winter. And then once we got in the bikes, and then she's been really good. But then we're kind of, once we're training the bike, now we're just going slow trips. I throw happy bridles on them and just let them do whatever, really. And she wants to get too aggressive, so she has to have more in her mouth, and that's really the only. It was more my mistake than anything else.
Going to move on here to Satan's Fury. This was a $34,000 Lexington purchase. This is a Volstead. This guy is just so full of personality. I remember you guys sending me videos of he likes to watch thoroughbred racing. He's into eating potato chips and Sour Patch Kids. And let me tell you, this one, I remember talking with you about this guy back in December, and we went from pool noodle on the horse's head to now he's just become such a professional. Kind of take us through the training process when it comes to him.
So this colt, I was talking to Luna Toscana one day, and she says, I was out at Armitage Farms, and they have a colt, a hybrid out there. You really need to look at him. He looks athletic. So I went, and it was a Volstead. I'm usually not really the big fan of the Volstead. So I went and looked at him. I'm like, well, this colt looks really good. So Richard Gutnick and Tommy Capone, they ended up buying him at Lexington, and it was a handful when we bought him. So Richard likes to keep him studs as long as he can. Mm-hmm. And I called Richard one day and I said, Richard, we're not going to have a horse if we don't geld this horse. Like, he has to get gelded. He's really, really aggressive, and he just doesn't. So we gelded him and just kept working with him and kept putting him in sets and letting him sit on helmets. And all of a sudden, this horse he's starting to love his job, and he's really good gaited, long, stretchy colt, good looking colt. And so we'll see.
Was gelding him kind of the main thing that did it, or there some equipment changes as well?
I think gelding him, and we gelded him, and then I think training with, I always tried to put him in a spot where he was able to beat the horses that he was in with and do it easily. Like, didn't have to work real hard to do it. So I think that helped his attitude a lot.
Gonna move on here to She's a Home Run. This is a 2-year-old filly, Captain Corey. This was a $25,000 Lexington Select purchase. This one already qualified though and won. Kind of take us through her qualifier and how she's doing today.
I've liked this filly from the day I broke her. She's been professional. She's perfect to work around, do anything with. I was really happy with her qualifier. I think she was slipping a little bit. I'm going to do some chewing changes before she'll qualify back this Tuesday. But I was really happy with it. She's been a nice filly all winter.
So what was causing the slipping? Was it the track surface or?
No, I don't have any grab. I didn't have any grab on them yet.
Okay.
So I try to train all the babies down without any grab, and then when they go race, qualify it, and somehow I missed it.
So when do you decide when it comes to shoeing, like when to add grab, when to take grab away? When do you kind of make those decisions?
Feel of the horse. Every horse is different.
Yeah.
To train, when I train them, some of them feel like they need it, some of them feel like they don't need it. All depends.
Gonna move on here to the Captain's Wife. This is also a Captain Corey. This was a $29,000 Lexington purchase. Kind of take us through her qualifier.
She qualified super. I drove her horrible. So Ronnie was on the front one, and it was running in real bad, and I didn't think he was going to make it through the last turn. So I just pulled her up next to him, and I said, I don't trust yours in the last turn. And we come 28-1, I think, on the end of it, and we were sprinting pretty good. So I was happy with her. I shouldn't have drove her quite like that, but.
Well, and that's the biggest thing with the 2-year-olds, right? You're learning what kind of trip works best for them, what kind of trip doesn't work best for them. And gonna move on here to the last one, which is Walks the Fire. This is a $30,000 Harrisburg purchase. This is an in-range colt, and if you look at the second dam, Lucky Chucky, 2 million made, world champion. I mean, that's a pretty good pedigree.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like this colt's pedigree. I actually went to Harrisburg to buy a Ready for Money filly, and I got outbid on her the night before. But I love the looks of this colt, but I just thought he'd bring a lot more than he actually ended up selling for. But he's been super from day one, really. Like, this horse has been on our top of everyone's list here from day one, really.
So, kind of talk a little bit about, this was one of the ones that had the surgery,
yeah.
Correct? Kind of take us through that process of, like, when you do a throat surgery like that, when do you decide it's the best time to do it? And obviously, what is your kind of your stance on it? Because I know some horsemen say it works and some horsemen say that it doesn't. Where do you kind of stand on that?
I think it works on some horses and some horses it doesn't, but I think the ones that it works on, it was money well spent. But it's a simple procedure. It's not, the healing as easy, as quick. So I try, like, if they're on schedule and they're early enough, like mine have all been under 2.5 or so they're all ready to qualify.
Okay.
So I have time. There's no rush, really. So I try to get them trained down to where they're ready to qualify. Now I'll do the surgery and do it. Go from there.
Well, thank you so much, Vernon, for your time, and hopefully we'll be catching up with you more here very soon.
Thank you.